Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I'm Frank Clark, and on behalf of my fellow board members, I want to thank you for coming today. The purpose of this hearing is to comply with the provisions of the Property Tax Code related to truth in taxation. Madam Secretary, please state for the record the notice procedure for this hearing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Notice of this public hearing was published in the Chicago Sun-Times, a newspaper of general circulation in the city of Chicago on October 3rd, 2017, and posted on the cpsboe.org website on October 3rd, 2017. I will now read into the record the public notice as published. Notice of proposed property tax increase for the Board of Education of the City of Chicago, commonly known as Chicago Public Schools. Roman numeral 1, a public hearing to approve a proposed property tax levy increase for the Board of Education of the City of Chicago, commonly known as Chicago Public Schools, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2017 and ending June 30, 2018. Fiscal year 2018 will be held on October 10, 2017 at 10:30 a.m. at the Chicago Public Schools Loop Office, 42 West Madison Street, Garden Level, Boardroom, Chicago, Illinois, 60602. Any person desiring to appear at the public hearing and present testimony to the taxing district may contact Estela Beltran, Secretary to the Board, Office of the Board, either by mail at 1 North Dearborn, Suite 950, Chicago, Illinois, 60602, or by telephone at 773-553-1600. Roman numeral number 2, the corporate and special purpose property taxes extended or abated for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2016 and ending June 30, 2017. Fiscal year 2017 were $2,704,467,362. The proposed corporate and special purpose property taxes to be levied for FY 2018 are $2,928,997,271. This represents an 8.3% increase over the previous year. Roman numeral number 3. The property taxes extended for debt service and public building commission leases for FY 2017 were $53,659,111. The estimated property taxes to be levied for the debt service and public commission leases for FY 2018 are $53,175,648. This represents a 0.9% decrease over the previous year. And Roman numeral number 4. The total property taxes extended or abated for FY 2017 were $2,758,126,473. The estimated total property taxes to be levied for FY 2018 are $2,982,172,919. This represents an 8.1% increase over the previous year. Dated at Chicago, Illinois, October 3rd, 2017, Chicago Board of Education by Frank M. Clark, President, and attested by Estela G. Beltran, Secretary. Thank you. And for the record, Mr. President, I would now like to note the board members that are present here today. And we have Member Furlong.
Present.
Member Rivera.
Present.
Vice President Guzman.
Present.
Member Dr. Hines.
Present.
Member Ward.
Present.
And President Clark.
Here.
6 members present. There is a quorum, and I would also like to recognize Forrest Claypool, our CEO, and Ronald Marmer, our General Counsel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Let's begin with the truth in taxation presentation. Walter Stock, I believe, is going to be doing that.
So as we've stated here earlier, the purpose of this hearing today is CPS is proposing a tax increase that's greater than 5% of the previous year's property tax extension, and state statute requires us to hold this public hearing. So the corporate and special purpose property taxes, as they were for last year, have been stated into the record as well. They were $2,704,000,000, and the proposed extension for this year is $2,929,000,000. And this represents an increase of 8.3%. So if we go a little bit deeper and we talk about the increase in the property taxes, we can take that down into 3 components. They're the capital improvement tax levy, they are the existing property taxes underneath the tax cap and PTEL, and they are the increases in the teacher pension levy. The capital improvement tax levy is an increase of approximately $3.6 million. We started levying this tax in 2016, and we continue levying it every year and increasing it at the rate of inflation. It's outside the tax cap. It does not reduce our ability to levy additional taxes for operating purposes, and these monies are primarily used for building improvements. The next category is raising the property taxes underneath the tax cap, underneath PTEL. This is approximately a $67 million increase, and the law, again, lets us increase taxes every year. We're limited by the rate of inflation. The lesser of the rate of inflation are 5%. And we get to produce a new levy according to that calculation. Every year we've looked at the ability to do this, and we've increased property taxes in 26 of the last 27 years. 23 were attributable to PTEL. And again, that's a $67 million increase. The remaining increase is for the teacher's pension levy, and this represents an increase of approximately $154 million. So of that $154 million, you could break it down into two ways. $138 million is attributable to a new law that was approved in Springfield earlier this year. We now have the ability, we have a fixed rate, and it was at 3.383%. And we now have the ability to go to 0.567%. So that's the $138 million. And the resulting, the remaining $16 million is inflationary growth on the levy as it was last year without the new increase. I have a further breakdown of the teacher pension property tax levy on the next page. We're citing here the laws that were signed into effect. So the 0.383 has only been in effect since June of 2016. So really this year was our first year we started to collect that. And then again, as I stated, we had a new law that was passed and that increased the 0.383 up to 0.567. So again, as I said, this is a $154 million increase. The box down below, I think, is important also to recognize. We talk about what the required fiscal year 18 employer contributions to the CTPF will be. The actuarial calculation is a $784 million contribution. We also have state contributions coming in there. We have a $12 million typical state 2.2 contribution that we call, and then the new FY18 normal cost payment that the state will also contribute of $221 million. So that's $233 million that the state will bring to the table for the pension contribution. And then we have the pension levy in totality, so not only the increase that we have from this year, but the existing that we started to levy last year. So in total, the levy will be $425 million, but we expect that it will be $405 million collected by the time loss collection is taken into consideration. So the remaining amount that CPS then will contribute from other resources, such as our basic GSA and our ed levy, will be $146 million, and that will be the composite of all the contributions that we'll make this year to the teachers' pension fund. And then on the next page, here's another additional breakdown of the property tax increase for the FY18 levy. So we start at the box up at the top. We have a breakdown of the three main fund purposes, which total the total extension of the $2,704 million, the tax cap funds, the capital improvement tax, and the teacher's pension levy. And then on the lines below, we have the proposed 2018 levy. And again, as we stated on the previous pages, we have the $67 million increase for inflation and new property. And then we have the capital improvement tax of the additional 3.6, and then the teacher's pension levy, 154. So the totality over last year, again, $2,929 million, and it represents the 8.3% increase. So wrapping up, I have one last page, and this is the tax impact to an average home with a value of $250,000 for Chicago residents. So the increase overall is $177. So, and it can be broken down into the three parts. So the inflationary growth of CPI would be $43. The capital improvement tax would be $3, and the teacher's pension would be $131. So I think in closing here, I think two important points on the bottom of this slide are just to say that we have increased taxes in recent years. It's primarily been to inflation, recently the capital improvement tax, and now the pension levy. And overall, last year, we don't know where it will end up this year, but it should be fairly close. In 2016, David Orr's office at Cook County, he does an independent assessment and a report of overall composite tax rates of all of Cook County. And the Chicago's composite tax rate, which CPS is roughly half of that, was at 7.145%, and that was the lowest rate in Cook County.
Board members, questions? Just, Walter, before you leave, of the $200+ million net increase, about 75% of that is all going directly into the teachers' pension fund. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So the money is levied by CPS. It's extended by the county, collected by the treasurer's office, and then distributed directly to the teachers' pension fund. It's not commingled with any of CPS other money. It goes directly to their bank account.
It's not going into operating dollars. There's a small amount, a couple of million, that's appeared to be going for capital improvements, but the vast bulk of this is all going directly into paying the teacher's pension fund obligation.
That's correct. If we look at the three main breakdowns of where the tax increase comes from, the lion's share is a result of the pension levy.
Thank you very much. Now let's proceed with today's public comment segment. Madam Secretary, please share the rules for public comment.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the record, I would like to note that registration for the public hearing was held between the hours of 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. this morning. Individuals who register to speak will have 2 minutes to comment, and I will call the speakers in order of registration. This hearing will conclude after the last person who has signed in to speak has spoken, or at 11:30 a.m., whichever occurs first. When called, please state your name, and I will proceed by calling the first speaker. Our first speaker, Mr. President, will be speaker number 1, please, Yvonne Johnson, followed by speaker number 2, Carol Coker, speaker number 3, Melvin McGrew, and then speaker number 4, Verlene Hill. Please state your name.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Yvonne Johnson, and I am a proud parent of alumni that graduated from Noble Charter School, Johnson College Prep in Inglewood. I think you remember me talking about my son. He's a sophomore now at Northwestern University, and he's doing well.
Good.
I am here because the charter schools have been deeply underfunded for years, and we're so excited that the budget of CPS has taken a big step toward treating the public school students fairly. It is my hope that the charter schools get the right resources that they need for our kids to be successful. I do appreciate working with Chicago Public School, and I do appreciate that what they have done for the budget, and as well as me working right beside them. I hope that the Chicago Public Schools continue to work with the charter sector and supporting our students, and to do the right things with our kids. I want to remind you, or let you know, keep you posted, that he's working 3 jobs. He's tutoring some grade kids at a grade school. He's also lifeguarding, and he's doing some production work up there at Northwestern.
Sounds like a model for what we want all of our young people to be doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. And our next speaker, please, Carol Coker.
Good morning. My name is Carol Coker, and I'm also here for the Fairly Budget Funding. And it is my hope, that all kids get funded equally, and that our kids will be able to attend all schools, and everyone get budget funding fairly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Coker. Our next speaker, please, Melvin McGrew.
Hello and good morning. I'm here today on behalf of Butler College Prep. I am here because charter public schools have been deeply underfunded for years. We're excited that there is a budget and that CPS is taking a big step towards treating all public schools students fairly. It is my hope that we can all continue to work together hand in hand for the benefits of all the children and the communities that they reside in. I appreciate the work CPS has done to get to this budget, and I was right alongside you fighting for SB 1947 to pass. I hope that CPS continues to work with the charter sector, support our students, and do right by our kids. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Mr. McGruth. And our last speaker, Mr. President, Verlene Hill, please.
Good morning. My name is Verlene Hill, and I am a parent of a senior at Hansberry College Prep located on the south side of Chicago, and I'm here on behalf of Hansberry as well as other Noble schools to speak on fair funding for our children, equitable funding, and that we do get the same as Chicago Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you,
You're
Ms. Hill. Mr. President, this concludes the public comment segment.
Any comment or reaction from any board member? Well, seeing none, this will conclude our Truth and Taxation hearing. Thank you all.